Although the Chibnall era as a whole gets a lot of criticism, much of which is perfectly justified, for Dalek fans it cannot be denied that this era has a variety of fantastic Dalek moments, some of which might just be among the most iconic Dalek scenes in all of New Who so far. It's bizarre. While he drops the ball in many respects, and while his writing on the whole is unfortunately quite mediocre, Chris Chibnall really understood how to characterise the Daleks, and this is clearly showcased in the Dalek episodes he wrote. In this video, we'll be looking at my top 5 favourite Dalek scenes from the Chris Chibnall era of Doctor Who. Number 1. The Dalek puppeteer scenes from Resolution. The scene in Resolution where the Dalek mutant attaches itself to Lynn's back and pilots her body like a puppeteer, mocking her powerlessness and explaining in detail how it will use her to its own ends, is without a doubt one of the creepiest Dalek scenes in the history of Doctor Who. The sinister Dalek voice initially appears unrecognisable, though it gradually gains elements of its standard voice back as Lynn tries in vain to fight back against it. Her disorientation and fear is well conveyed, and we get a sense of how truly twisted, evil and hateful the Dalek creature is. Every scene in this episode involving Lynn and the Dalek is excellent, and the fusion of her voice with the grating Dalek speech pattern is suitably sinister. Number 2. The Dalek race is supreme from Resolution. Perhaps the most memorable Dalek quote from the entire Chibnall era comes from this sequence where the Recon Scout Dalek attacks a group of soldiers. After offering them a brief allocated period of surrender, which immediately expires, the Dalek declares that its race is supreme before unleashing its lasers and missiles on the unsuspecting troopers, quickly eradicating the entire team. This expansive action sequence is exactly what the Daleks needed after the Moffat era, and Resolution does a great job of showcasing that even an underpowered scrap metal Dalek is enough to effectively eradicate human defences. There's so much to love about this scene, how quickly the soldiers' confidence evaporates before they're sent scattering in fear, the combination of the rapid fire gunstick and the Daleks' hidden missiles, the return of the remembrance of the Daleks' extermination sound, and the fact that it outmaneuvers and destroys a tank. It's glorious. Number 3. The defense drone extermination spree from Revolution of the Daleks. Who doesn't love a good Dalek extermination spree? Some of the most iconic Dalek scenes in New Who involve the Daleks simply blasting away helpless humans, and Revolution of the Daleks treats us to a particularly brutal display of Dalek carnage, when the defense drones activate and start indiscriminately exterminating civilians across the UK. Sego Nakanola's score emphasises the fast-paced dynamic sequence of Daleks starting their revolution and gunning down anyone in range. We see Daleks sweeping through the streets, picking off tired and confused victims as they quickly take control. The scene in which the Daleks exterminate the Prime Minister harkens back to a planned but ultimately unfilmed sequence from the Stolen Earth depicting a similar event, and it is great to see the Daleks finally getting to gun down the PM on the steps of Number 10. Number 4. The Dalek Civil War from Revolution of the Daleks. Another great sequence from Revolution of the Daleks is the brief but intense battle between the Death Squad Daleks and the defense drones. This war isn't elaborated on as much as the conflict we see in Remembrance of the Daleks, due mostly to the fact that Revolution has a shorter runtime and that the defense drone Daleks are nowhere near as powerful as the factions we've seen prior, but unlike Remembrance, Revolution treats us to a Blood of the Daleks style standoff between two opposing Dalek factions who confront each other, declare their intentions, and inevitably come to blows. While Dalek vs Dalek action is fun and exciting, it's also important to illustrate the Dalek ideology in their own words, and Revolution of the Daleks gives us both of these things in a brief but impactful battle. And number 5. Daleks in the Shadows from Eve of the Daleks. Despite its status as a comedic story, Eve of the Daleks does a good job of separating the comedy from the Dalek action. While there are a handful of jokes at the Daleks' expense, this episode treads a careful line between tension and humour and takes full advantage of opportunities to make the Daleks intimidating. A perfect example of this is the sudden appearance of the Daleks following a heartfelt scene between Yaz and Dan, in which Yaz's true feelings for the Doctor are finally revealed before she notices a Dalek stalking them in the shadows, which quickly guns them down. Mandip Gill really sells this moment, as the welling tears in her eyes fall as the penny drops and the Dalek is revealed. The fact that it had its eye stalk switched off and was deliberately biding its time, waiting for the prime moment to strike, shows the Daleks' nature as predators, and it seems to get a twisted sense of joy out of telling Yaz that the Doctor will never save her. It's horrific to consider that the Dalek was listening to Yaz and Dan's conversation the whole time, writhing with hatred but maintaining its composure so that once it was noticed, it could spitefully taunt its victim before delivering the killing blow. This is a great example of the Daleks being more than just powerful killing machines. They're intelligent, insidious, and sadistic. What's your favourite Dalek scene from the Chris Chibnall era? Let me know in the comments below.
Don't forget to click below to subscribe to
Dalek Bumps.